Are you tired of being in marital limbo and stuck between trying to decide whether to stay in your marriage and make it work or get a divorce? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things that you must do when you're trying to decide whether to stay married or get a divorce so that you can trust that you're making the best decisions possible with no regrets. So stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit the subscription button below and click the bell to be notified every time I make new videos about relationship advice, personal growth, and healing from heartbreak. Be sure to also follow me on Instagram, where I share weekly tips and advice that you won't find here on YouTube. Now, on to the main topic of this video. The 3 things I'll be sharing with you help my clients decide once and for all whether they want to stay in their marriage and to make it work, or if they want to leave it all together and seek a divorce. I'm excited to also teach you these 3 things so that you too can end your indecision paralysis and decide how you want to move forward with confidence. The first thing is to turn inwards. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean to make your inner world the source of your attention and your focus, to pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your bodily sensations, and overall well-being. When we're dealing with relationship problems, we tend to focus a lot on the other person, what he's doing or not doing, all the things that are going wrong and are just overall dissatisfaction. When you're in this place and you're trying to decide whether it's best to stay or leave, it's natural to feel a lot of anxiety, fear, and doubt and overwhelm. Making this decision while you're in that state can lead to decisions that are motivated for various reasons, but may not be exactly what you truly want or need. One thing I want to suggest as an added bonus while you're trying to get clear on what to do is to practice what I call marriage detox. This is where you mentally set aside all the problems and your complaints about your partner and your relationship, even just temporarily. Commit to a certain amount of time that feels doable to take a break from overthinking, from analyzing, from focusing on the problems. This is when you suspend all judgments of yourself and of your spouse, and you stop blaming and shaming, and you let go of trying to control everything. It's best to simply let things be for a moment so that you can create a sense of distance and space from everything that's going on as you sort through that mental clutter and you get to what's really in alignment with you. Use this as an opportunity to focus on yourself, tend to your own self-care, and rediscover what truly matters to you. Take this time to nourish yourself instead of giving all your power and your energy away to your problems in your marriage. Now, back to the point about turning inwards. You may be wondering why turning inwards matters. And as I mentioned a moment ago, it's important to get clear on what you really want, what's driving you, and what really matters to you. It's hard to reach that type of clarity when you're feeling many intense emotions and your mind and your body are literally in survival mode, which tends to happen when we're dealing with major breakdowns in our relationships. So turning inwards not only helps with emotional regulation, it also helps us to become conscious of our own needs, and it strengthens our relationships with ourselves, which is key, especially during such a major pivotal point in your life such as this. You'll need to be able to trust that you're making the best decisions, you're following your own inner knowing, your intuition, so that you can feel confident that you're making the best decisions. And it's easy to fall into traps of self-doubt, of guilt, of fear, especially if you have children. You don't want to hurt them. And if you love your husband and you feel guilty about wanting more for yourself. Doing this work and learning to tap into your own inner knowing will save you a lot of heartache, and it will help you find clarity so that you can move forward in whatever direction with a lot more confidence. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to do more videos on how you can trust your intuition and really work with it when you're making these types of major decisions. Some tips for turning inwards include understanding your attachment style. There's a wealth of information online on what's called the attachment theory in psychology. In a very brief nutshell, attachment theory provides a descriptive and explanatory framework for understanding our relationships with other people. The premise is that the quality of the bonds that we formed in early childhood, those relationships shape how we relate to others and how we respond to intimacy in adult relationships. So for example, if your earliest relationship with a primary caregiver was one that made you feel safe, they understood you, they were able to understand your cries and interpret them, and they noticed your changing needs and your emotional state, then you're likely to have developed a more secure attachment. And as an adult, you feel more self-confident, you're trusting, you enjoy intimate relationships, and you navigate the ups and downs of romantic relationships in a healthy way. If instead you experienced confusion, frightened, you had inconsistent emotional responses during infancy, then and your caregivers were unable to comfort you or respond to your needs, then you're more likely to have experienced insecure attachments. These infants tend to grow into adults who have difficulty understanding their own emotions and the feelings of others, and they're limited in their ability to build and maintain stable relationships. They might find it difficult to connect with others, or they might be clingy, fearful, they might be anxious in relationships. The category of insecure attachments has several subsets, and it goes into much more depth if you're interested in learning more about it. One thing I want to note, though, is that you may have a mix of different attachment styles and can attach differently to different people. These aren't static, and they certainly aren't set in stone. You can change them, and you can build stronger, healthier, more fulfilling relationships with others. The benefit of understanding your own attachment style is that you can uncover vital clues as to why you may be having problems in your relationship. You'll make sense of your own behavior, how you perceive your partner, how you respond to intimacy. Identifying these patterns can help you clarify what you need in your relationships and the best way to overcome the problems within yourself and in your relationship. Another tip is to start to pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and your sensations in your body. By turning inward and paying attention to your inner experience, that provides incredible insights related to your beliefs, your thought patterns, your behavioral patterns, and the messages your body has for you. I mean, they're all connected and they're constantly communicating with you if you slow down enough to listen and tune in. One way of tuning in is taking a practice of deep breathing. You can simply start breathing more mindfully, which is proven to immediately calm the nervous system. When the nervous system is activated, we're quite literally in survival mode. The part of our brain that's responsible for logic, for reason, for higher thinking is shut down so that you can use all your energy and react to the perceived danger. You're more likely to react on impulse in that state than discern what's actually best, what's the best action to take. Instead, when you breathe deeply, you're telling your brain that everything's okay, you're safe, and it can calm down now. Once your nervous system calms down, then you'll be able to re-engage that prefrontal cortex of your brain. That's the part that's responsible for cognition and decision making. Reflecting, doing deep introspective work is best when it's done in a calm state. Along with deep breathing, having a yoga and meditation practice, and not just the trendy yoga exercise routines, but the more spiritual version of it, is also a powerful way to strengthen your connection with your mind, your body, and your spirit. Another tip is to commit to honoring yourself. This includes making small commitments to yourself and following through on them. This helps to repair self-betrayal and show yourself that you're dependable and that you're trustworthy. Doing this will build your self-confidence. Last tip for turning inwards is to practice self-forgiveness and self-compassion. Forgive yourself for any perceived mistakes or transgressions, for any time that you felt that you showed up less than the person that you want to be. When you practice self-forgiveness, you also practice self-compassion, which is crucial for moving through the grieving and the healing process. Now on to the second thing you must do. You need to work on relationships and intimacy skills. Even though I'm a divorce attorney, I'm a huge advocate for improving relationships and working on intimacy skills if there's any chance of reconnecting and warding off divorce altogether. To me, nothing is better than seeing a couple grow closer to one another, having a more conscious relationship, and finding their way back to one another. Let's face it, most of us were never modeled how to have a healthy relationship, especially a healthy marriage. We don't know what that looks like. We haven't learned how to develop intimacy and sustain it for a long term. The type of intimacy I'm talking about is beyond just the physical intimacy. We need to foster a more holistic connection, which includes intimacy through the way we relate emotionally, intellectually, through our experiences with one another, as well as on a spiritual level. You can work with a marriage counselor or a coach specialized in relationships to learn about relationship building skills and to try to understand one another. It's important to not only receive counseling together, but to also have individual therapy. And if you do work with a counselor, find a therapist which you both have rapport with, and you can commit to the process for at least 6 months. And remember not to use the sessions as a way to get the therapist to point out all your partner's flaws or only talk about the problems. This should be something where you're both willing to commit to the process and open your hearts to one another, even if it feels really closed off and shut down right now. By strengthening your relationship building and intimacy skills, it's likely that Your way of relating to one another will change. If you grow closer together, then great. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. But if you've tried everything to reconnect and nothing's changing, at least not in the way that you'd like to see it progress, then at least you'll know that you've done everything that you possibly could. You know the health and status of your relationship. And at that point, you can decide if the status quo is even enough for you. And if you do decide to end your marriage, then you'll know again that you've tried everything to be closer, and that can help to reduce some of the guilt that you may feel if you do decide to walk away. Last but not least, the third thing you must do is get advice and educate yourself about the separation and divorce process. I'll be the first to say that divorce is not an answer to an unhealthy marriage. It's not an easy process, and it can be very traumatic for everybody involved. So it's best not to take it lightly and to really have careful consideration. You should do your due diligence and to really understand what you'll likely experience during divorce and how your life will be post-divorce so that you can make that informed decision. The grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side, and many aren't exactly better off after divorce, but it's worth understanding what you can expect should you take that route. This is taking the practical and the logical approach for deciding whether to stay or go. And that's why I suggest that you talk to local attorneys in your area, you find out what your rights are and what you can expect from the process overall. Maybe talk to people who have gone through a divorce too, even though no two divorces are exactly the same. Get as educated as possible on the process and what you'll likely experience in your specific situation. And if you want to learn more about separation and the divorce process without doing endless searches online or asking people for advice, I put together an online course called Divorcing with Dignity. This program is designed to educate and guide you through the entire divorce process so that you have more clarity, more confidence, and actionable steps to take if you do decide to get a divorce. I walk you through everything from the very beginning when you're just starting to prepare all the way through life after divorce. I've provided the link to the course in the description box below, so check that out if you want to learn more about it. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.